Welcome to the podcast, Happy and Single. I'm your host, Joseph Anderson. You could find me on Instagram, the It's Possible Guy. And today, guys, the topic of the podcast, it's episode 116, and it's entitled, I'm Human Too. Now, I don't know why this is, but this is something that I've actually seen for probably a little while now, but I was talking to my mom last night, and I'd given a talk at my church, which, you know, for anyone that doesn't happen to be a member of my faith, it's kind of like a sermon. We have all the regular members of our church. Every now and then you get an opportunity to talk, like, you know, every few years or something. Well, I talked, and my mom had said something afterwards when we were talking last night. And she said, you know, I kind of asked her thoughts, and she's like, you know, I think it's really good that you share with people that you have struggles too, because most people think that you don't. You're just always happy and you're always excited about life. And so this is going to be a really real podcast. And this is not me complaining. This is just to share with you guys that I have struggles and trials too. You know, I was actually talking with a friend. This was last Sunday. You know, and we were, and I just walked up to him, and he's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing great." He's like, "Dude, are you ever not doing great? I mean, you're like always happy. Everything's always going well for you." And so I finally just told him, like, the day before, I'd been in a car wreck, and I mean, the person had been going like nearly 60 miles an hour and ran a red light and hit me. And now, fortunately, I was super blessed. I was super protected, but my car did not do so well, and my body is in some pain. Now, that's not like, you know, I don't have any broken bones or anything that I know of yet, but I'm just sharing that with you guys. Guys, I don't know why people think this. Yes, I am fairly happy, but that's just because that's what I choose to be. But I have plenty of days that I struggle, I get frustrated running my own business. I don't know always what's the best thing to do. I don't know if it's best to make calls. I don't know if it's best to focus on, you know, what I feel inspired to do. You know, I feel guided to do all these guitar videos. Well, the It's Possible Challenge, which happens to be right now, learning Top Gun Anthem on the guitar. There's many days I play and I don't even feel like putting up a video of my progress because I play for hours and hours the same part, and it doesn't feel like I'm getting any better sometimes. So I want you guys to know that I am very, very human. I say things sometimes that I probably shouldn't. I mean, I get frustrated, I get upset. I just cool down generally pretty quickly. You know, and I think part of that is just, I don't know. I think I've somewhat become somewhat apathetic in my life, if I'm being honest. That life's just okay the way it is, but that's actually taken away some of my drive. It's like I've learned how to be happy in whatever state I'm in. But it's killed off some of that drive to push forward and, you know, advance and expand and grow in my life. I mean, I've run a struggling business for many, many, many years, and at the same time, I've helped people make millions of dollars. I've helped a company make over $750,000 only to turn around and have them fire me because the $300 they were paying me was too much. I've been through a lot in my life. It just, the more you get hit in the face, the more it just doesn't bother you. And I don't know, maybe it should bother me. You know, and it's interesting because I don't know why people think that I don't have challenges, I don't have struggles, I don't have trials. I do. I've waited for certain things for a really long time in my life, only to see them not to come to pass. I've had moments in my life where something I've waited for doesn't happen. And, the adversary in that moment says, curse God and die. I've wanted to be married to the girl of my dreams. I've wanted to be a father. Like, I'm really grateful to be an uncle, but yeah, I would love to be a father to my own children. That would be awesome. So I don't know what it is that you're struggling with in your life right now, but today I just wanted to pull back the curtain a little bit. Today I wanted to share with you, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. I mean, I thought by now I'll be 39 years old in July. I didn't think that I would be where I'm at now. Barely getting by, barely kind of surviving, not taking the time to do many of the things that I would love to do for plenty of different reasons. So if you're struggling, if you're frustrated with where you're at, hey, me too sometimes. But it doesn't have to dictate what you do. You can find so much joy in just living the life that you're living. I just wanted to come in and be honest. I mean, it's like I'm grateful that this podcast has reached, we've got over 25,000 downloads now. And there's a part of me that would love to see it reach even more. I don't think we're ever content with where we're at. Well, let me take that back. I don't think we're ever satisfied with where we're at. And it's okay to be content with where we're at. But I think we were really put on this earth to strive to grow. And that requires doing things that we probably haven't done before. I mean, I've been shared with recently by very important people in my life of, the vision and future and everything that they could see me having. And it's so far beyond what I've ever believed and felt about myself, especially in the past while. I mean, I don't know, as you get kicked more and more in life, you just kind of stop dreaming, you stop hoping. But we don't have to. The talk that I ended up giving yesterday was, part of it was about the Lord hasn't forgotten you. God hasn't forgotten you. And especially as we're true and faithful to Him, He will take care of us and He will protect us. He will keep us alive. But if we want to thrive, that takes us too. There's a great story told of a minister that goes and he, drives up to this guy's beautiful farm, and he walks up and he's like, "Man, this is a beautiful farm that the Lord has blessed you with." And the farmer responds, "Yeah, but you should have seen when he had it all to himself." Our lives, God has given us the Play-Doh of life. He has given us all kinds of things. Now, God could have easily, because He's God, He could have done whatever He wanted. He could have put full buildings everywhere. He could have put everything that He wanted on the earth. He could have dotted the world with temples in a blink of an eye. I don't understand how all that works. But why doesn't He? Why do we go through the struggle? Why do we go through being human? So we can learn and grow. If I go to the weight room and there's no weights, it's just an empty room. I don't know about you guys. I wouldn't pay for a gym membership at a gym with no weights. That would be pointless. And sometimes when we feel like we are on a good track, life hits us. As I mentioned with the car wreck, I in that situation, it wasn't my fault. A car runs a red light, 2 seconds cold, and I'm one of the most cautious drivers alive. I look where I'm going. I pay attention to lots of other cars on the road and like where cars are coming out and everything else. And this was just one of those perfect storms where I couldn't see where they were coming from. And it's interesting because fortunately I was wearing my seatbelt, and there's plenty of times in the past that I haven't. So also, if you don't, I would highly recommend you wear your seatbelt. Guys, our lives can be over in the blink of an eye. I mean, I know absolutely that I was protected by Heavenly Father, and I know that we are protected. But it can be over in a blink of an eye. We don't have to make a big deal about all the struggles that we're going through. I think it's the adversary that wants us to focus more on our struggles and our challenges and our frustrations and letting him debilitate our lives. It's amazing where inspiration can come from. I've toggled between this kind of being just content as I am and living a guided life, or exercising lots of faith and doing affirmations and things like that. And I'm inspired from all kinds of different places. And you can be too. I was shared with an example of somebody that looked for examples of strength in their life when they were going through something hard. You can do hard things. And some days you're just human. And there's a song that came to my mind to share with you guys, and it's called Human by Cody Johnson. If you guys have never heard this, I highly recommend checking it out. I thought by now I'd have it all figured out. How not to make the easy things so hard to do. I bet that I'd be further down this road if I could read the signs that point me to the truth. I never planned on being nothing but a cowboy, but somewhere I picked up this old guitar. Girl, all I can say is that I'm sorry if I get kind of careless with your heart. And I love this song because it's about a man that's just trying the best that he knows. And the end of I'll read the chorus. He says, all the headlights, all the midnights, chasing all that empty, still ain't got it right. All the crazy, all the gypsy, well, I guess all I'm saying is forgive me. If I don't know what I'm doing, I'm still learning to be human. And every one of you are learning to be human as well. Let yourself be human. I mean, this past week is not, has been crazy. I haven't had a car. I've had to borrow my dad's car when I've needed anything because my car's broken from the accident and wouldn't even drive from the scene of the accident. I mean, let yourself be human. It's okay, guys. You're going to go through challenges and you're going to get through them. But it's like I shared in my talk yesterday. It's like Groundhog Day. We've got to do something different. So why don't I spend so much time coming in and telling you guys about all the different struggles and challenges I have in my life? Because it doesn't do any good. And I don't know about you guys, but it kind of made me feel like down as I was sharing them all. And I haven't even shared them all. Every one of us have things in our life that we could choose to be down about, or we can choose to be up. Every one of you has great things going on in your life, as well as challenges. But what do we tend to focus on? We tend to focus on the things in our life that aren't right. It's like they talk about that story of a teacher getting up and doing a math problem, and doing, a few right, and then one of them is wrong. And she asked, what do you guys notice? And everybody notices the mistake. Nobody notices what was done well. So I don't know what it is that you're struggling with at this point in your life. I really don't. But what I do know is you give yourself license to be human. It's like James Bond had license to kill. You get a license to be human. I mean, let yourself experience this life. Let yourself get messy. Let yourself have fun. Let yourself play. I was watching a portion of the Chiefs game, and it just kind of occurred to me, oh my goodness, it is so cold there. And these guys are out there in freezing cold weather, and that grass is probably super hard, and it probably hurts. But think about how many things in our life we don't go after because of a little bit of pain, a little bit of struggle. Oh no, I don't want to go to the gym because it's going to make me sore. It's going to make me hurt. Guys, the gym is the best place you can ever go. I mean, you can find free workouts with videos online that show you exactly what to do. There is a way to get done anything that you want to, but you have to be willing to work through the struggle. There's a great book by Angela Duckworth called Grit that I read years ago that was awesome. We have to learn. I mean, one of those things that she talks about is, if I remember right, I think she has her kids pick one thing that they're willing to do for that entire year. They can switch it after a year, but for that entire year, they're doing it. And as you guys have heard me talk about many times of last year, 2022, when I picked these 7 things that I did every single day, except Sundays. Oh my goodness, there were so many times that I half-heartedly did all of those things. And I stopped my experiment after that. But did I get better at all of those things? Yeah, I did. I find it more helpful now to get more curious and be like, okay, well, why didn't I do that? Why aren't I doing the writing that I want to do? I mean, back to, some of the areas I'm human. I've been writing a book for over 12 years. Yes, for 12 years, I've been writing the same book. Where is it that you're not allowing yourself to be human? Where is it that you need to give yourself more slack? And where is it that you need to rein in the slack? There has to be a certain amount of tension. No, it doesn't have to be pressure, but there does have to be a certain amount of tension, a certain amount of, like the analogy that I use with people is if you loosen up a guitar string super loose, it won't play any sound at all. And if it goes too tight, it breaks. But there is a proper tension in the middle that we can find ourselves, allowing ourselves to be human, but also saying, okay, cool. But what is it that I want to create in the world? What would be really, really awesome to create? My mentor, he does one of these things. He calls, wouldn't it be cool if? And just spending 5 minutes sitting down and thinking about, well, wouldn't it be cool if I did this? But we've lost our ability to dream. I'm kind of shifting into another topic, which I might do later, but allow yourself to be human and also pay attention to where you're going. Pay attention to what direction your life is going right now. Is it going the direction that you want? You don't have to be perfect. And it's like one of my favorite analogies is from hockey. It was Tyson Nash that said this. He's a Coyotes broadcaster. He said, you can lose a game and still make the playoffs. But if you keep losing 2 games in a row too many times, you're not making the playoffs. And the same with each of us. If you take too many days off, you're not going to get your goals. You're not going to get the things that you want most in life. One of my favorite quotes is, discipline is remembering what you want. Discipline is remembering what you want. In the moment when a giant, beautiful cake is put before me at a party last night, It was so delicious and amazing. I wanted the cake. But you know what I really want? Is to be 185 pounds or less and to be in the best shape of my life. Now, I was working out pretty faithfully. And then what happened? I got hit by a car and I'm not able to work out yet. Hopefully within a week or so I'll be able to. But there's so many things that we don't control. And that's just part of life. See, because I'm human and other people are human as well. And the more you realize that other people are also human and usually their choices have nothing to do with you, but due to protecting them, just keeping themselves safe, whatever it is, or keeping themselves feeling like they're safe. But being safe isn't, it's like that quote, a ship in a harbor is safe, but that's not what a ship was built for. We were meant to venture. We were meant to go out. We were meant to create really awesome things in the world. So guys, if you are feeling human, hey, me too. Give yourself more permission. Give yourself a little more slack. Or if you need to, rein in the slack. Part of doing these podcasts is creating enough space and quiet in each of your lives that you can actually pay attention to what the Spirit's trying to tell you. Because we have so many thoughts. I mean, I was so anxious about giving this talk, and I generally I can just get up and talk, but especially when you only talk in church supposedly every, few years, it's like, oh, well, I want to make sure that I say what God wants me to say. And that's probably been the biggest struggle for me in my entire life, is just simply making sure that I do what God wants me to do. But I realized something yesterday as I was doing this talk, and especially afterwards and when I'm writing my book. The thing that I realized was just throwing myself into it. Basically practicing my talk as if I'm actually giving it and seeing how it flows. Now, does that take time? Yes, absolutely it takes time. And I do that when I write my book as well, and I even pray and ask for help when I write my book, praying that I can write those things that are going to touch people's lives and change their lives and inspire people to live a new life. Now, every one of you, allow yourself to be human. So, once again, guys, this has really just been me saying, I'm human too. But I did want to add, guys, just because we're human, the reason it frustrates us is because we take it too seriously. One of my things I enjoy doing is watching blooper reels from movies or shows or whatever. And you know what they do when they mess up? They laugh. They laugh, and sometimes the outtakes and what comes because they messed up is even funnier than them not messing up. Like, we worry so much about freaking out, and it was so funny. There's a story coming to my mind. I used to do improv at a place, and one of the characters, so it was a clean improv, completely clean. And one of the girls in my improv group, she had said something, and I'll respond with how, I responded. It was like, oh, I didn't, because I want to keep this podcast super clean, but it was basically like, oh, I didn't know that your donkey was here in the room with us. Welcome. Because she had said the A word. And so, it was just super funny. Life is so much funnier when we just allow ourselves to be human. It really is, guys. I mean, in that moment, it could have gone a few different ways, because there were some people that probably might not have appreciated what she had said. But oh my goodness, the way that I was able to respond. And so with yourselves, when you find yourself being human, don't beat yourself up. Lift yourself up. Raise yourself up. Life happens. That's just part of it. And we can choose, no matter what it is that you're going through, we can choose to find joy. Now, I've shared very in detail plenty of things that I've gone through or am going through in my life right now, but not even all. You don't have to share every single one of your struggles with everybody. There's plenty of my struggles that very, very few people know. And that's okay. Why? Because you get to decide who you share your stuff with. You get to decide. But the more we look at life as just, oh, there's one of my bloopers. There's one of my blooper reels. Okay, well, I could be funny. I can enjoy. Don't let other people get you down. No, it can be really challenging sometimes, especially when people around you don't support what you're doing. And you might even see somebody else that is supporting what somebody's doing and be jealous. But understand that even the people around you, they're just doing the best they can too, because guess what? They're also human, just like you. We're all just learning to be human. So learn to roll with the punches. Learn to just understand that challenges are just a part of life. We're going to have things happen. We're going to have, challenges that come in our lives, even when we are doing everything that we know how to do. And the Lord can take those and he can use them for your good. In the Book of Mormon, in the book of Scripture, 2 Nephi 2, verse 2, it says, "Nevertheless, Jacob, my firstborn in the wilderness, thou knowest the greatness of God, and he shall consecrate thine afflictions for thy gain." God can take whatever it is that you're going through in your life, and he can turn it for the good. There's another quote this is by Winston Churchill. "Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm." Could you imagine if you could just roll through the punches and roll through the punches and roll through the punches just without any loss of enthusiasm? I'm reminded of, there's a character called 10 Second Tom on 50 First Dates. And so this character only remembers the last 10 seconds of anything. And so you can tell him amazing things, and 10 seconds later, he's going to forget. You can tell him horrible things, and 10 seconds later, he's going to forget. What if that was you? What if you could just learn, hey, I'm just learning to be human. I'm just learning to be human. I'm going to keep rolling through the punches, and life's going to get better and better and better and better. Try it. See what happens. You might be amazed. And so the more you learn to just really not take life so seriously, the more you allow yourself to be human. But we put so much pressure, and we have so much thinking about it because we add on pressure and say, well, I haven't been able to get this done by this time, and so it means that I'm a failure. No, it means you're learning, and it means you're growing, and it means you're still alive. And guys, I am so thankful for my life. We never know when it can be taken away from us. We truly don't. So learn to be easier on yourself. There's a story told about this woman, this man that goes to visit this prime minister, and this one of the prime minister's subjects comes in, and they're freaking out and talking, worrying and worrying and worrying. And the prime minister says, "Please remember rule number 6. And the man instantly composes himself and leaves. And the prime minister and this other man continue to talk, and another person comes in the same way, freaking out. And the prime minister says, "Hey, remember rule number 6. And then a woman comes in that is just going crazy. I mean, she's flailing her arms, and she's screaming and yelling and just totally freaking out. And the prime minister says, "Would you kindly remember rule number 6? And the woman instantly composes herself. And the visitor to this prime minister is now amazed. And he says, "You have to tell me, what is rule number 6? And he says, "It's easy. don't take yourself so gosh darn seriously. Guys, stop taking everything in your life so gosh darn seriously. Live your life. Experience your life. Love your life. Get messy. Throw yourselves into the things that you want to throw yourself into. And start paying attention. If something's not leaving you feeling joy, stop doing it. And go do what's going to leave you joy. And if you don't know what's going to leave you feeling joy, just be still for a few minutes. I was reminded last night about the power of classical music. You can turn on some beautiful classical music. You can turn on some meditational music. You can turn on whatever it is that you want. There is a beauty in being still. So be still. Allow yourself to be human. Learn to laugh at yourself and just understand you're just trying. You're going through your own blooper reel. And what I hope that what this podcast has done today has helped you feel okay and given you license to be human. License to be human, license to laugh, license to cry, license to mess up, license to live. I hope this gives you a license to live. You probably won't find that many of these episodes on there, but maybe I will start throwing a few more things in there and sharing with you guys. But understand, every single person that you know has challenges and problems. Everybody just chooses to deal with them differently. And there's not a right or wrong way. You have agency to live your life. There's a great scripture that says there's things to act and there's things to be acted upon. Do you want to be the thing to act, or do you want to be the thing to be acted upon? Now, that one also comes from the Book of Mormon, also in 2 Nephi 2, that's verse 13 to 14. So we can choose to act or be acted upon. But the one thing I want you to know is learn to laugh. Even if you just start laughing fake, it does something for you that is incredible. It makes you feel happy, and I don't laugh near as much as, see, there I go again. I don't laugh near as much as I probably should either. But no matter what it is you're working on, no matter what it is you're facing, understand that you are human and you're learning. You've never lived a life before. It's not like you've had a life on this earth before and you came back and you're trying again. This is your first time. Let yourself be a beginner. And just enjoy the process. Enjoy the messiness. And whatever you felt inspired to do as you've listened today, go do it. And if you happen to know somebody that it doesn't feel it's okay to be human, feel free to share this episode with them. Now, if you've made it to this point in the podcast, I'd like to invite you to go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. I don't know how you got here, but that way, if you ever want to get back here again, it's right there for you in your subscriptions. And if you haven't already joined us, one of the really cool things that I do that's free for anyone that would like to participate is each Monday morning at 10 a.m. Arizona time, I host a group coaching call for Happy and Single. Anyone is welcome to come on, and you can even receive a little bit of one-on-one coaching time with me, depending on how many people are in the call. Now, every now and then that schedule changes, so you can go to the website happynsingle.com to be able to look at the schedule and also to be able to find the link to the Zoom room. Now, at the same time, if you would prefer a more one-on-one type of coaching experience where you can sit down and share your hopes and dreams and just kind of the stuff going on in your world, then there's another option available for you as well. Now, the bulk of my business is actually doing one-on-one coaching. If that's something you're interested in exploring, I've got a few spots open in my coaching practice. You can just message me on Instagram at the It's Possible Guy, and we can sit down and have a chat. And it doesn't matter where you're at in the world. I've worked with people across the world. I do everything over Zoom, so it actually makes it pretty easy. Thank you guys so much again for listening. And go out and live your adventure. Thank you.